I just need to check real quick. If I go inside here, okay, hold on, let me just check.
9-second intro, go. Today I'm going to be ranking every single Souls game from
So can
worst
this
to
even be
best in my own
heard? I need to
personal
test that.
opinion and
Let me
explain.
go get my phone real quick so I can test this. It doesn't work. Okay, let's see here. Let me open up YouTube real quick. And shut the hell up. Okay. Okay, so I should still be able to be heard. Hello? Yes, I can still be heard. Okay, good. Let's see here.
9-second intro, go. Today I'm going to be ranking every single Souls
Maybe it
game
is
from
even
worst to
wrong.
best in my own personal opinion and
No, you can still hear me. You can still hear me. That's fine. Okay, I just need to
explaining why.
That's a lot better. Okay. So, welcome. So if it's not obvious yet to many people, of those who has actually seen me, damn, I'm a pretty big fan of the Soulsborne games. I found this one here, ranking every Souls game from worst to best, including Elden Ring. I think it's also going to include Sekiro. I should not look at that. Okay. Then there's the best and worst aspects of each Soulsborne game, and I got two tiers right here. We got the games, and we have, oh damn, a whole lot of bosses. Now, not all these boss threats here will be ranked because I have not fought every boss yet. But before, I think I'm going to start with this one here, just ranking the overall games, in which I'm firstly going to just put in here Elden Ring as, is this the remaster? There's two Demon Souls. I think it's the remastered Demon Souls. But those pretty much go in D. I have heard I can't really rank this one. I'm gonna put it down there next to remastered. Bloodborne S. Dark Souls is a B. Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 isn't bad. It's C. Actually, it's called the first sin. It's the one I played. I have not played the original Dark Souls 2. I'm still looking forward to doing that. Sekiro goes up in S. Dark Souls Remastered goes in A. Love the remaster. And Dark Souls 3 go up in the top of B right there. So yeah, although Dark Souls 2 is down here at the bottom, I still have to give it my respect because, well, Dark Souls 2 was the whole introduction to Soulsborne games, to me at least. They were an introduction to me, specifically Skalder. I have never played the original, still looking forward to that. Demon Souls I never really liked. You know, I tried out my Redemption run, did not go great. We have original Dark Souls. I have not played original Dark Souls, but I assume it's a little bit worse than regular Dark Souls. And then Dark Souls 3. I really like Dark Souls 3, but like the exploration it has, it feels kind of stale in it, you know. Sekiro is just peak combat design. I don't think Sekiro has like many flaws. The exact same with Bloodborne actually. And then Elden Ring was the game that really got me hooked into the game. It was also the first game that I ever streamed, like ever. That was Elden Ring, on a separate account that I don't have anymore, which is sad. But Elden Ring was the big game for me, even if I started down here at the C tier. Alright, but now we got the games. Demon Souls at the bottom, the Dark Souls 2 at C, regular Dark Souls here at B. He's probably gonna rank the remastered version. We got Dark Souls 3 at B, remastered A, Sekiro, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring at S tier. So let's hear what this guy has to say.
9-second intro, explaining why I like some games more than others. This list changes a lot for me, but here's what I think.
Let's see what you got.
Coming in at number 7, my least...
Number 7, Demon Souls. I don't think there's many people actually who likes Demon Souls.
Favorite game in the Souls series is Demon Souls.
I mean, like,
interestingly enough, I also think it's the easiest game in the series. To be fair, I've only played the remake since I don't have a PS3. Sorry, I was too busy pushing children out of my way at Walmart to get a PS.
Should I put on the subtitles? I guess I can. I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
5. I probably ruined like 3 kids' Christmases last year, but I got to play Demon Souls, so, you know, silver lining. Anyway, as much as I love this game and was surprised at how well the gameplay held up after all this time, I still think...
Yeah, I was never really much into the gameplay that Demon Souls has. It felt... I don't know, it just felt kind of weird, you know? I mean, many bosses were pretty easy, but I only got up to, like, Flame Lurker before it just kind of... It just got really boring, you know? Luckily, I got the game for free because I have PlayStation Plus. So that's nice.
I think it comes in last place for me due to the bosses. And I've said this before, I don't think the bosses are bad in this game at all. I'm just not a huge fan of the gimmick puzzle bosses, and that describes 90% of the ones in Demon Souls. Last time I mentioned that, a ton of people were like,
you'd rather just have a dodging simulator that's...
Yes. Yes, I would.
All just reaction time. It takes no skill at all.
Yes, it does. I know exactly that it takes skill. Especially my Dark Souls 2 the first time I ever played these games, because I never leveled up adaptability, meaning I had what 8 to 9 frames of immunity where I couldn't take damage. 8 to 9 frames. That's fat rolling in Dark Souls 1. It's kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I don't care, it's more fun. I really love the world in this game though, and I think the level design is excellent. It's just not as fleshed out for obvious reasons, and after playing the others, it definitely showed. Certain things like the 525,600 upgrade mats get annoying, especially with the drop rates.
That is kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of upgrade materials in this game. I can hardly even follow through any of them. What does a spider stone even do? Hold on. Well, yeah, obviously. What does a spider weapon do in Demon Souls? Because I have never tried that before. What is it? In Demon Souls, spider weapons can refer to equipment crafted from the hot demon soul, dropped by the armored spiders. Okay, no, was it web? I don't remember. I did get like a stone shot from the spider stuff. 4 spider
being
weapons.
Ridiculously low for some. I grinded so much on my first playthrough, I pretty much just do New Game Plus now. The world tendency stuff is fun to mess around with sometimes, but most of the time I forget to skydive in the Nexus.
Yeah, I actually never understood this one. I never really understood why world tendency worked the way it did. Like, why would you punish players for being human? It feels very weird. And it forces you to lose your maximum HP, which sucks a lot.
Leaving me wondering why I'm all of a sudden trash at the game. On top of everything else, the game is pretty short. It took me like 15 hours to beat it the first time through, and that was during finals week of my last semester of college, but, you know, priorities. I will say I find myself coming back to this game more than some of the others.
I'm not sure if I'll ever beat Demon Souls, solely because I just don't like it at all. Like, I just kind of don't like it. Which is why it's at the D tier all the way down at the bottom. Because it is the worst game, after all. But it is also the fromsoftware's first game, so it did do success. It did do success back in like, was it 2009? I think it was 2009. Yeah, that's good.
Others, but I think it's because it feels less stressful than the others, and the world is really immersive to me. And to be fair, my rankings change pretty much every time I play these games again, so this is my current list after completing each game a few times. So yeah, Demon Souls is last in my mind as of right now, but like I said, it's almost entirely due to the bosses. Okay. Next up on my list is Dark Souls 1. I know...
Dark Souls 1, interesting. Interesting, actually. Because as you can see, my Dark Souls is actually above Dark Souls 3. No, I think I'm just gonna give it off now. What? Shut up. Demon Souls last. Dark Souls 2 second to last. Then probably Dark Souls 1. No, Dark Souls 3 is third. Dark Souls 1 is fourth. Then Sekiro. Elden Ring, and then Bloodborne. Bloodborne is probably like the best one in my opinion. I really, really love Bloodborne. Also because it's a PlayStation exclusive, so I can trash on Xbox players. But I can trash on me with Subnautica 2, which I haven't tried yet. I really want to play Subnautica 2 as well.
Oh, get your little hate comment fingers ready. If I was being objective, Dark Souls 1 would probably rank a bit higher on this list, but after my last playthrough, I really just didn't enjoy it as much as the others. I think a lot of this is due to the slower pace of the game with the rolling and running and...
Yeah, another thing is that many bosses are awfully slow, not gonna lie. Many bosses are very painfully slow, and some of them are just too easy. And there's also like the second half, I guess. Yes, that is fair. The second half is horrendous.
Feeling, but it ended up frustrating me more than anything after playing the other games. The combat in this game just never gave me the same rush as the other games, especially with the bosses. Once again, most of them just felt too easy up until the...
What did I say? Most bosses are just too easy. They're just too easy. Especially, what's it called? The Iron Golem. The Iron Golem is so massively easy. For being like one of the turn points to Anor Londo, one of the best areas in the game, also contesting for having the second hardest boss in the entire game, if you include DLC. If not, then Ornstein and Smough are the hardest. So yeah, the Iron Golem is very disappointing.
DLC where the slow rolls actually started bothering me because they really stepped up the boss fights there. But even with my complaint...
They did. Except for like Calamite still felt very slow compared to like everything else.
I can't deny how incredible the interconnectivity is in this game, and I think it would have been bumped up a few spots if it had continued through the second half of the game as well.
Yeah, this. The second half was rushed. They did not have time. But I believe Miyazaki specifically only stated that it was isolift. Did Miyazaki? No, okay. Not only single out Lost Isolift, while Lost Isolift is his most famous and direct admission of rushed production and regret, he has openly discussed other areas of the game that suffered from time constraints, budget, and his own development methods. Okay, so Lost Isolift, the second half of the game. Miyazaki acknowledges that the post-Anor Londo stretch of the game, the Anor Londo Souls areas, the Lord Souls areas, like the tight consistent, blah 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 blah, and security, the Duke's archives. Going specific areas, Miyazaki has admitted he would have liked to spend a little bit more time on the Duke's archives and the Crystal Caves. I don't know. I really like the Duke's archives. I think Duke's archives was fine. And cut content, yeah, there was some cut content. I do remember one where they added fake bonfires. They want to add fake bonfires, but it was cut out of the game, sadly. So that sucks.
There's also just a lot of downtime and running around, which can definitely be fun to a certain extent, but I think they executed that part better in the later games. The boss fights just felt slow, and fighting multiple enemies is such a pain in this game due to your speed, which makes it hard for me to enjoy it as much after playing the other games. I do think the story is really strong here, so it's a shame I don't really care about it at all. I just like to play. What? It's a video game.
Yeah, Dark Souls does have a lot of story in it. Honestly, everywhere you are, there's like a little piece of lore everywhere. Even right here, the soul layer is like huge, and yet I still don't think we know where Astora is.
I think this game was executed perfectly for the time and will always be known as one of the most iconic experiences in all of gaming, but in comparison to the rest of the series, it's gonna rank second to last for me. Coming in at number 5.
Shut up. I think Dark Souls 1 was my Elden Ring. No, Dark Souls 2, Elden Ring. Yeah, I believe Dark Souls 1 was my third Souls game, so obviously didn't have as much of an impact on me as it would have others. But it did actually use a Divine Battle Axe, I remember, on a non-magic build.
We actually have Bloodborne. No, I'm...
Come again? Did I skip? No.
Always be known as one of the most iconic experiences in
You
all
can say
of
that one
gaming,
again.
but in comparison to the rest of the series, it's gonna rank second to last for me. Coming in at number 5, we actually have Bloodborne.
He said Bloodborne. On number 5, he put in Bloodborne. Why? Bloodborne's incredible. It's like my number 1.
No, I'm just kidding. Please hold your...
Okay. He did not dislike Bloodborne.
comments and questions and subscribe right now until the end. Number 5 is going to be Dark Souls 2.
Fair enough. Above Dark Souls 1? Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I have second most hours on Dark Souls 1 right now. Soon to be surpassed by Bloodborne. Maybe also Sekiro. I'm doing a lot of Sekiro recently, I'm not gonna lie. But Dark Souls 1 has the second most hours, honestly. The fact they put Dark Souls 2 above Dark Souls 1 is mildly interesting, honestly. Let's see why.
Almost put this one a little bit higher, but when I went back to play it, I just couldn't. Also, I just realized these are all in order so far, but I have a feeling that'll
Oh yeah, it is.
change soon. Dark Souls 2 almost ranked a bit higher for me because it was by far the most addicted I've ever been to a video game, and I genuinely have no idea why.
Yeah, that was me too. I was extremely addicted to Dark Souls 2. It was... I don't know what it was, really. I mean, many of the bosses really sucked. Yeah, they had a lot of bad bosses. Specifically looking at one. This guy. This guy is a joke. He is a little joke. He is nothing. I think they could have worked more on this guy though. Also like the Iron Keep map. Have y'all seen the image? Yeah, right here. This is apparently the map design of Dark Souls 2. You got Earthen Peak, then an elevator that goes up to Iron Keep. How? How do you make that? I get that one. I have to try that.
I played Dark Souls 1 and 3 first, and for some reason this game just got me. This one I actually started during finals week of my junior year in college, and within 3 days I had over 24 hours played in Dark Souls 2. Needless to say,
I did too. It took me 27 hours to beat Dark Souls 2. 34 hours to beat Dark Souls 2.
had to hit a couple professors up asking if they could round my D- to a B+, but that's why I'm a YouTuber now. All that aside, I really just love the world in this game and the freedom they give you. It feels like a different form of exploration from Dark Souls 1. It's almost hopeful in a sense.
I mean, yeah, they do, but they aren't really interconnected in the same way. Like Dark Souls 2, it goes in its own way, similar to Dark Souls 3. But like, you get like 4 different directions you can go at the start. That is something. But it never interconnects with each other. Which is like what makes Dark Souls 1 so magical to many people. To me too. I did get kind of impressed when they interconnected every now and then, you know?
They kind of give you hints at things you'll discover later on in the game, so it keeps you interested to find out what happens. Majula is also the best hub in the series with the
Agreed.
best music. Don't at me. Does anyone even say that anymore? And I hate to say it, but I kind of like the quantity approach they did here to some extent. The only reason it ranks lower is because the controls still feel a bit clunky.
They were very clunky, yeah. They were. I'm not gonna lie. I did have a lot of trouble when you had to do falling parts in the game. No, that sucked a lot. I actually think I struggled more getting down to the gutter, the Black Gulch. It took me a long time to stick to the Black Gulch than it was getting through it, because like I just kept falling and falling and falling.
Agility stat is dumb and makes the first part of the game frustrating,
which I did not upgrade.
And the bosses are pretty weak for the most part. It also has some of the most aggravating levels, enemies, bosses, you name it. But I still love it for that reason. Oh, and also the fashion, weapon variety, and unique additions like the bonfire.
Dark Souls 1 definitely. Dark Souls 2 definitely has the most weapon varieties that you can have, and many special weapons. That doesn't just include boss weapons as well, so that's pretty nice.
Aesthetics and fragrant branches of yore are absolutely beautiful. Moving on to number 4, this is where it gets a little bit interesting.
Who you got? Who did you put in? Elden Ring?
Once again, get those little typers ready because we're going with Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Okay, so number 4. I mean, I guess I can see it. I mean, many bosses are kind of boring. Like the, what's it called? The... The Watchdog. Yeah, this guy, the Archibald Watchdog. He really sucked. Like, he wasn't hard, he wasn't hard or anything. He was just boring. Easy and play boring. And how many are there now doing? Copy that. Because I don't want to paste all that in. Stop that. Oh god damn it, because it's on the MacBook I can use this Windows keyboard correctly. Are there no name? Yeah, I'm sure they'll be able to correct it for me. It's 11? That's a lot. That's a lot. Oh, it's lagging now.
I don't think I need to explain this one much more. Elden Ring is an incredible game, but I personally prefer a bit more direction in my games, specifically how FromSoft does it, because I think it makes for a more balanced experience. The open world was an awesome feature, and
It was. But like at some points, like if you replay the game, re-exploring Limgrave doesn't really feel the same as like the first time. It's like the whole like exploration and looking at things mostly lies at the first gameplay, like every others. But it falls a lot more than the other ones on your second playthrough, in my opinion.
love to see them do it again in the future, but I kind of prefer there being a little bit more structure for games like this. A lot of the mini bosses were way too easy for me, and it felt
A lot of mini bosses were way too easy. There's also some mini bosses who were way too hard. That was one in the snowfield. Hold on. Elden Ring interactive map. Yes. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Bosses. Okay, of course I can zoom in now. Hold on. Oh, I found him first try. Did I? That's the bird. Mariner, Huge Avatar, Crusader. Yeah, this one. This guy. I think. Is this the guy? Yeah, it is the one. This guy sucks. In the snowfield. Really sucks. Like to an incredible extent. I've never beaten him actually. I've never beaten him. Why's my computer lagging so much? What the hell? I hope it's better.
felt like a waste because if they were harder, it would have given me a lot more playtime. But then if I try to keep myself under level, the main bosses become way too challenging.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you don't explore, the game becomes too hard, and if you explore, the game becomes too easy. So it's you gotta kind of like balance it out in a way, so the game doesn't get too easy or too hard. Now it does have some like Melania and Placidusax. Those are kind of difficult. Malekith too. Malekith is very difficult. But other than that, you kind of like don't need too much exploration for the game. Maybe Fire Giant, but that's debatable.
It's just a balance I couldn't really find on my own, and it took away from a lot of
Godskin Duo as well.
my enjoyment in Elden Ring. Aside from that though, the game feels great. The open world is super fun to explore. There is an absurd amount of content that's worth way more than the price tag, and it's gotta be Game of the Year this year. The weapon and build variety is
Oh goddamn!
For decades, the
No.
Grammy has been.
Goddamn it!
9-second intro, go. Today I'm gonna be ranking every single Souls game from worst to under level, the main bosses this year. The weapon and build variety is so much fun to mess around with as well, and I love all the little features they added to make the game more convenient. Another problem I had that I've touched on before is the bosses. It feels like they do too much damage to you but don't have enough health as opposed.
I mean, sometimes yeah, some do, but something like Fire Giant, yes. I think Malekith, you can kill him pretty fast, but he can also kill you very fast. And I think it was just made like that, So, he's a really challenging boss, but he doesn't last too long in the fight.
Opposed to the other games where bosses do less damage to the player but have massive health pools.
German
I'd
is a
rather
good
have
example.
more room for error but a longer fight than a boss that will one-shot me instantly if I mess up. I could talk about the pros and cons of this game forever, but I think
Waterfowl dance is so horrible. I have to give up on Millennia on my first playthrough, solely because waterfowl dance was so difficult.
most FromSoft fans will see where I'm coming from here. I'm not taking anything away from Elden Ring at all. It's just a different type of game than the others.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 3, we have Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls 3. Okay, it's fair. It does have some of the best bosses. I will agree on that. One of the best bosses.
This might be a shocker, I know, but keep in mind that it was my first Souls game ever, and have you seen the bosses? This one is extremely biased, being
Have you seen the bosses?
my first Souls game, and I'll never forget beating the Abyss Watchers for the first time and getting that rush that makes these games so addicting. The movement in this game feels great, and I know a lot of people were pissed because the rolls were too fast, but I think they paired this with faster combat to offset the change.
They did, yeah. I definitely like the dodging that they had in Dark Souls 3. I like that one a lot. The enemies, however, I did not like. And the poise is also really bad.
Also, don't be a boomer, embrace the change, come on. I will say, after completing all the Souls games, it's definitely one of the easiest, but some of the bosses still give me the most trouble of any game in the series. The endgame
It is definitely pretty easy, but it does also have a lot of difficult ones. Like
and
Nameless
DLC
King, he
bosses
was
feel
difficult.
perfectly balanced and give you that feeling of satisfaction that drives us all to say get good to the random kid struggling on the internet. I will say I think most of the levels are pretty unpleasant. If they were any better, Dark Souls 3 would have been my #1 spot. Pretty much all the levels leading up to Irithyll are a pain to go through, not because they're super hard or complicated, they just don't feel super creative or
Yeah, this is one I have. I hate the way to that point. Catacombs, I'm fine with Catacombs. It's short, you can get through fast. I'm fine with Catacombs. But Farron Keep and the Undead Settlement, Road of Sacrifices too? No, it doesn't do it for me. I don't like it at all. Especially Farron Keep. No one likes a poison swamp.
exciting to explore. Another small issue I have is how easy it is to R1 spam through most of the enemies in this game.
That's literally what it is. I just R1 spam the entire way. I barely never did a heavy attack.
It's not a huge problem or anything, but it definitely makes the game feel like a joke at times. But I still think this game has some of the best and worst enemies in the series, which made it a bit harder to rank for me. It has some of the highest highs and the lowest lows, but it's probably the game I've completed the most.
Like I said, one of the highest highs, one of the lowest lows. Because it has some of the best stuff and has some of the worst stuff, in my opinion.
Just because the bosses are so damn good. This was the perfect way to end the trilogy, and it's my favorite of the 3 Dark Souls games. Before we get to number 2, just give me 10 seconds to show you something that'll make your life a lot better. If you want to get access to few things that bumped it down. Thanks to Atlas VPN for sponsoring the video. Let's get on to number 2. Coming in at number 2, the runner-up is gonna be Bloodborne.
That's fair enough. Bloodborne and Sekiro. Oh, hold on. I did a mistake here. Bloodborne and Sekiro is definitely some of the best ones. I'm not gonna lie. Really amazing combat. Some of the best combat games I've ever had. It does get beaten by something like Doom, but that doesn't matter because Doom is like its whole own thing compared to Souls games. But Sekiro has the best combat. Bloodborne, it's just overall the best.
I'm assuming most of you expected this to be number 1, but it has a few things that bumped it down for me. I understand why a lot of the huge beast bosses were included here, but I personally prefer the humanoid bosses like Gehrman and Lady Maria, and I wish they had more like them.
That is fair. I felt like the beast ones, they were very aggressive, but sometimes they just kind of like keep away from, like Amelia. Like she keeps away and then she's like heals. I know it's like to make you come closer and attack her so she doesn't heal. But still, it's still there, you know?
But the ones they do have are some of the best in the series, and they never get old for me. The setting and theme of this game is a big part of my love, and I think the way they design the world is incredible.
Except for Orphan. Orphan, of course, straight aggression. I love it.
On top of that, the level design is amazing, and the way they connected the world was mind-blowing every time. I think everyone loves this game for its horror theme, and it's a shame they still haven't made a remaster.
Yeah, I do love it for its horror theme. I mean, it wasn't scary the first time I played it, but I could feel it that they were trying to go for like horror stuff. It could definitely be felt.
Let's be honest, it's basically a free $70 from all of us if they just remaster the game. One thing I didn't like about
It definitely would. I would rather prefer a remake So they could fix Mikolash, specifically Mikolash. But other than that, I'm fine with it.
This game is how confusing it can be. I've played through Bloodborne tons of times, and I swear I still have to look something up at least once in every playthrough. And before you call me an idiot in the comments, I still have feelings. Actually, I'm kind of desensitized at this point, but still, I don't want to hear it. The other issues I have with this game are small things that I've touched on before, but things like the finite healing system, trying to farm for blood vials and bullets can be a pain if you use them up early.
I had that in my first playthrough, but like now, it never becomes an issue. Because I used the rally system a lot better than I did my first playthrough.
Not being able to rest or travel from lamps is a pain as well, but that's really more of an inconvenience. The chalice dungeons are one aspect that most people seem to hate, but I actually don't mind them. Sure, they can be a grind, but when you've played through the main game a dozen times already, it's kind of nice to have something optional to switch it up. But I think the core combat elements in this game and the rally system are what really make it great, and I'd love to see this return in a different style, like a Western or a futuristic game from the developers in the future. Or just Bloodborne 2. Anyway, moving on to...
Futuristic. fromsoftware. They have never... Oh, I mean, that was like that mech thing.
The one that's gonna...
What was... Metal Wolf Chaos, that's the one. They did make that one. That's like the only futuristic one they made.
Piss everyone off the most because it's not even technically a Souls game. We have Sekiro. This went from my least favorite FromSoft game to my favorite in the span of about 6 months. It took me forever to get into this game because I kept trying to play it like a Souls game, but on my third attempt at
I did understood that you had to parry. I just sucked at parrying.
playing it through again, the combat finally clicked with Genichiro. The level design, the combat flow, and the bosses all make this game
Genichiro is supposed to do like that. He's supposed to work in that sort of way.
absolutely perfect for me, and while this became...
Genichiro is an early game skill check, but it does suck that Guardian Apes and the Scrolls and the Floating Screen Monkeys were way too easy for mid-game.
my number one FromSoft game fairly recently, I think it's gonna stay like that for a while. A lot of people dislike the lack of build variety and say it gives less replayability, but I don't know why I feel like I can keep playing this game over and over without getting sick of it. The boss rush mode really solidified this choice for me as well, giving me the
I am practicing for that. Future stream coming, by the way. Boss rush in Sekiro, all bosses at once.
opportunity to fight bosses over and over and really master each one of them. The way I describe this game is the hardest to learn but the easiest to master.
Yes.
And once you master it, it doesn't get boring, it just gets more satisfying. In the other Souls games, if something is too easy, it's just not that fun. In Sekiro, it still gives you that rewarding feeling for each boss because you know their moves so well. The only thing that makes me debate if this game will stay at number 1 for me is the lack of content.
Also, Mortal Blade makes it way too easy.
The main game has tons of things to do, but I really wish they added a DLC or some extra prosthetics to grind for. I think the skills and prosthetic tools are good to give players that feeling of build variety because you can use each one to your advantage for specific bosses, but I would have loved at least some new weapons like a spear or some daggers. But I think this is the most consistent game in the series and is the closest to perfect I've seen.
I mean, what would you even put in a DLC of Sekiro? Because, like, there's not really much you could do. Is there? I mean, I guess like the Ministry, add one to the Ministry, but you already do that at Oshina Castle Invasion. That is the Ministry. So yeah, I don't really think you can put a DLC in Sekiro. Or really any moves that really fits Wolf. They don't have a lot. They don't have a lot to work with for DLC. I think that's why it didn't get it. But it did get Game of the... Did they get Game of the Year? I don't know. Did Sekiro win Game of the Year? Yes, it did win Game of the Year. Okay. I was wondering. Why does you... He keeps buffering like that. Anyways, that was the... Souls games ranking was the best. Again, it's very different from mine. My camera keeps on glitching. That's just awesome. I love it. Okay, now we got this one. I'm gonna go for this one. I'm gonna talk a little bit less because this one is long. But let's see if we can agree on this guy.
The Soulsborne games. You know them, you love them. These games have reached legendary status in the gaming world and are considered by many to be the gold. There's a lot of different factors that come together to make these Soulsborne games what they are. See my video of what's actually a Souls-like if you want a deeper dive as to which these factors are. But for all their glory and prestige, these games are not perfect. They are fantastic, but flawed in their own right. In this video, I'll be going over the Soulsborne games developed by fromsoftware, starting with Demon's Souls and ending with Elden Ring, and choosing what the best quality of that game is, as well as the worst, because I prefer to end with...
Does he include Sekiro in this one? Yes, he does, okay. And Bloodborne, obviously.
Positive notes. I'll be starting with the worst quality and then talking about the best of each game. So sit back, grab an Estus, and let's get into it. Alright, starting off with Demon's Souls, picking a worst feature was pretty challenging.
I think the worst one is Phantom Mode. Because you lose 50% permanently. It's not like a little bit chunky, no, it's just instant 50%.
As I don't think the game suffers from any glaring flaws, but rather is just not as polished as later installments.
That's true.
Demon's Souls was, of course, the very first Soulsborne game fromsoftware ever.
Yeah, you can't really criticize Demon's Souls that much, solely because it's one of their first games. When was it coming out? A year ago, damn.
Developed, so it stands to reason that the formula wouldn't be perfected yet.
Exactly.
But since I do have to choose a worst feature,
also, I don't think that one is in the modern Demon's Souls, the name of the area.
I would have to pick its linearity. Demon's Souls is the only Soulsborne game that works exclusively on a level-based world system. Each world exists on its own, and there is no connectivity between the worlds whatsoever. And of course, this takes away from the immersion factor. You can't feel exactly like you're exploring a world if the world is basically broken up into distinct segments. Again, it's a level-based system rather than a semi-open world system, which is...
Yeah, I don't remember the intro, but I think they said like the areas were like separated or something. I don't remember.
What we get moving forward. It's not the worst thing in the world, to be honest. Getting into Demon's Souls after already having played most of the Souls games was actually pretty refreshing, since its linearity meant that I didn't have to worry too much about missing out on...
I was wondering what those guys look like in your...
Pretty refreshing, since its
these guys.
Linearity
This is what they look like.
meant that...
Really?
I didn't have to worry too much about missing out on important secret areas or something. But yeah, it definitely takes away from the exploration part of the Souls games that we love so much. Now, as for the best quality, I was torn between two choices, but at the end I decided to go with the boss uniqueness.
Boss uniqueness, really? I don't know. What does Demon's Souls even do best, in my opinion? That's actually kind of difficult. I don't know. I don't think the bosses was that great. I think they were pretty bad. From those that I fought. I haven't fought them all. Still working on it. Don't worry. What do they do best? I mean, like, boss mechanics? They do the mechanics best. So kind of like the same, but kind of not.
Yes. The bosses in Demon's Souls are not the best of the series, to be sure. However, they are, in my opinion, by far the most unique. Demon's Souls was much more experimental when it came to bosses compared to all the other later games.
I gave up a Flame Lurker. Like I said,
bosses in Demon's Souls have unique gimmicks or mechanics that give them their own personal flavor. Yeah. And while not all of these mechanics are great, they certainly lead to more interesting and memorable boss fights. I distinctly remember each and every single boss fight in Demon's Souls. And yes, part of the reason is because it doesn't have a lot of bosses to begin with, but another big part of that reason is because the bosses are unique. Later installments focus much more on the bread and butter combat of the Soulsborne games, which, don't get me wrong, works extremely well. But Demon's Souls wasn't afraid to experiment with interesting gimmicks, and I respect it for that. So, that's it for Demon's Souls. Let's move on to Dark Souls 1.
Oh, that was it? Okay. Dark Souls 1.
Now, for the worst feature...
The worst feature is what?
Of Dark Souls 1, my choice would have to go to the bosses. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yes. Thank you. I agree with them. Bosses are the worst. And even 6-1 is an example. Better Chaos, Capra Demon, Ceaseless Discharge, Centipede Demon. See if the skills could have been worked on more. The Four Kings is fine. So is Great Lord Needle. Those guys are fine. They're fine bosses. Pinwheel's horrible.
Wrong. Dark Souls 1 has some very good bosses like Orsin and Smough, Night Artorias, and Manus. But for the most part, I think the bosses in Dark Souls 1 are...
Gwyn was such a disappointment.
are easily its worst feature. And while I wouldn't say that the boss quality in Dark Souls 1 is much worse than the boss quality in Demon Souls, I would say that Dark Souls 1 bosses are far more
Oh, these guys aren't the same people, are they? That's Ember. Oh, he has a lot more.
boring than the ones in Demon Souls. Yes, I don't like the Dragon God fight in Demon Souls. It's annoying.
Dark Souls 1 bosses are very, very boring.
And tedious.
Very boring.
But at the very least, it's memorable. It's different. Half of the bosses in Dark Souls 1 not only kinda suck, but they're also boring as fuck.
Couldn't say it better myself. Boring as hell, dude. But it does also have some pretty fun ones. Like Madness, like you said.
You know, you have random demon on a bridge, tutorial boss, which is actually pretty good for a first boss fight, appearing twice more for no goddamn reason. A giant sewer dragon with a massive health pool, a giant lava bug on a tiny speck of land, and don't even get me started on this thing. Though to be fair, the Bed of Chaos is absolutely a memorable fight. It's just that it's memorable for all.
Yeah, you never remember this as a good fight. Only bad. You can never say a good thing about it. I don't think there's a single player ever who has played Dark Souls. None. How many sales does it have? How many did Dark Souls 1 have? Over 8 million. Out of all those 8 million, not a single one has first tried this boss.
The wrong reasons. So yeah, the bosses for me are Dark Souls 1's worst quality. As for the best quality, this was a no-brainer. It's the world and by extension the exploration. Dark Souls 1 is almost the polar opposite of Demon Souls in that it features an almost complete,
like I said in the beginning of the stream, is the fact that they interconnect with each other in social ways, which is really fun. It always leads back to Firelink Shrine. Until the second half.
completely interconnected world. A world in which different areas that seem far away from each other are actually connected. The Firelink Shrine, the hub area of Dark
And the shortcuts are a lot more genius than Demon Souls.
Souls 1 actually acts as a middle connecting point to several of the game's locations. It connects to the Undead Burg and by extension the Depths. It connects to the New Londo ruins as well as the Valley of Drakes, which then connects to Blighttown.
Yes, New Londo did have interconnectivity. I forgot about that one.
It connects to the Catacombs and by extension the Tomb of Giants. And not to mention that it connects to the Kiln of the First Flame, the final area of the base game, after you gather the 4 Lord Souls. And this is just an example. In general, the world of Dark Souls 1 is almost fully connected, with the exception of Anor Londo and all subsequent areas, as well as the painted world of Ariamis, which really is
painted world, obviously. Not connected to anything, really.
meant to be disconnected from the rest of the world. And this creates a big
because our lore
semi-open world that is filled with secrets and rewards thorough exploration. A favorite example of this is the Ash Lake, an area that is located at the very bottom of Lordran, the world of Dark Souls 1. To find it, you need to get through Blighttown, through an invisible wall, twice, and down a great hollowed out tree filled with basilisks. This area is completely hidden away and is extremely easy to miss.
It was. I missed like 3 times my first ever play. My first 3 playthroughs. Missed it every single time.
Houses a Hydra and an ancient dragon which lets you join its covenant. And that's pretty much it. Is it kinda underwhelming? Sure, but I love the fact that there's a whole hidden area underneath the world that is so easy to miss. And these are the kinds of things that make exploration worthwhile. Even with the world design suffering from a drop in quality in the second half of the game, as is the case with all other aspects of Dark Souls 1, it's still the game's best quality in my opinion. Yes. And that concludes Dark Souls 1.
Hey, is that my favorite? No, that's on the Sway Handler.
So let's proceed with Dark Souls 2. Now,
Dark Souls 2. The best thing they have is the many variety of weapons, in my opinion. The worst thing they have is either hollowing or the adaptability.
Dark Souls 2 is absolutely an awesome game. I know that it's a meme, I know that many people like to shit on it. Does it have its fair share of problems? Absolutely. Do I think it's as good as some of the other games on this list?
Yes.
No.
No. Okay.
But I still really enjoyed it and recognize that, in spite of all of its flaws, Dark Souls 2 has a surprising amount of good qualities. But more on that.
Also, I'd like to say, Dark Souls 2 has some of the most beautiful graphics in the entire game. I said it. Some of the most beautiful graphics in the game. Just look at this. A lost prison out in the ocean. And it actually looks kind of beautiful. A lost prison.
on a bit. For now, let's get into its worst quality, which was probably the easiest choice I had to make in this entire video, its enemy placement. Probably Dark Souls 2.
That is something too. Enemy placement is kind of bad, especially in the Iron Keep. Iron Keep is horrendous in this.
Its most infamous feature is the absolutely atrocious enemy placement that it features on many of its levels. So I should clarify that by placement, I don't necessarily mean where the game chooses to
No, but where it chooses you to be at the enemies.
insert the enemies, but the sheer density and volume of them. Many areas would have been perfectly fine with half the enemies being present.
Okay, I don't know what's happening with the graphics here. I don't know if it's him or me, but I forgot what to say. Yes, I have many instances where my weapon was about to break a lot of time, which I really hated because going to the Smelter Demon, my weapon was already at 20% before I even entered the boss fight.
Let that sink in for a bit. Half of
And I had a +9.
them. On multiple occasions, you're just walking around and suddenly being barraged by enemy after enemy after enemy. It really makes for a miserable experience that does not
Yes, but it does also teach you to kill one at a time as you go. That is something you should know.
work well at all with Souls combat. And another extension of this problem is the run back to bosses. Now typically
Like the Smelter Demon.
on a quote-unquote proper playthrough of a Souls game, you would first explore and clear out an area, search for items, unlock the shortcuts, and then make your way to the boss. After you inevitably die, you would then run back to the boss fight without bothering to kill any more enemies or explore any more of the area, since you've already done those things. But in Dark Souls 2, the sheer enemy density, the slower character speed, and the fact
And no iframes on the door. A fog wall.
that entering fog gates does not give you invincibility means that for many boss runbacks, your only option is to keep killing the enemies of
Is this Fume Knight? I think it might be Fume Knight.
that area, lest half or more of your attempts to go back to the boss end up
That's your Dragon one.
with you dying at the fog gate.
Is it called Shin? I think it's called. I think it's called Shin.
I don't think I have to explain or rationalize why this is such a horribly tedious procedure. Even the devs probably realize this, as Dark Souls 2 is the only Souls game, as far as I'm aware of, in which enemies will permanently despawn after being killed a certain number of times.
I did appreciate that on my first ever playthrough. I really appreciated that.
So yeah, enemy placement and density, definitely unquestionably Dark Souls 2's worst feature. Now, picking the best quality for Dark Souls 2 was actually fairly challenging, as I think that for all its flaws, Dark Souls
2 is very special because it's the game who has arguably some of the most worst mechanics and arguably the most best mechanics at the same time.
2 does a lot of things right. Its world and level design is very good, aside from the enemy placement of course.
Yes.
It's fun to explore, it has a high boss density, which admittedly does lead to
Mostly are a little bit boring, a little bit slow.
pretty bad bosses, oftentimes, but it segments gameplay better in my opinion. But possibly the reason why Dark Souls 2 continues to have such a dedicated following all these years later, and in spite of the fact that it's being shunned by the broader community, is the additional layer of complexity and overall improvements to combat and
What is it? It's kind of the same. I just said a weapon variety and like unique weapons. It's pretty much the same as he said right now.
build crafting. With things like power stancing, armor being more important due to more added effects, attack cancelling, more options for dual wielding,
Yes.
and generally tons of small but noticeable changes
Like I said, more weapon and uniqueness into it.
that massively improved this aspect of the game from Dark Souls 1, especially for the PvP side. A lot of people believe that Dark Souls 2 had, and still possibly has, the best PvP sphere of
I have never done Dark Souls 2 PvP. I've never done actual PvP in the Souls games. I should probably do that soon.
all the Souls games. However, this is not my personal pick, because it would be kinda dishonest. Dark Souls 2 was the very last Souls game I played, and I never really got into PvP or complex build crafting. No, my personal pick is the atmosphere and biome diversity.
Like I said, it's very beautiful. Especially Hades Tower of Flame. Very beautiful area.
It's kinda difficult to put into words, but when I'm exploring a Dark Souls 2 area, I'm really feeling the vibe of that area.
Yes.
I really feel like I'm in a lost forest, a temple, some mines, a dying castle. Dark Souls 2 does a really good job through a combination of level design and
Dark Souls 2 probably has the best graphics in arguably better than Bloodborne, but that's some of the best graphics in like the Soulsborne genre before we moved over to Sekiro and Elden Ring.
Graphic design to make these places come alive in a way that is comparable or even better.
What are these graphics? What's happening? Is it the game? No, it's not. I don't even have that. No, stop it.
Better than Demon Souls and perhaps even Elden Ring. And that's it for good old Dark Souls 2, which takes us to Bloodborne. Now Bloodborne is
Bloodborne. Let's see what you got.
The fan favorite of the community and as such can have low flaws, so let's move on to the best feature.
Yes.
Nah, I'm messing with you. Bloodborne is a great game of course, but, and I understand I risk getting hanged and thrown rocks at by saying this, it's not flawless. It's
I agree. None of the Souls games are flawless.
difficult to pinpoint a worst feature though, as Bloodborne doesn't really suffer from any glaring flaws the way other Souls games do. It's mostly a collection of small problems that don't really stand out individually. It doesn't have the best boss quality, sure. Its level design is not.
After Emilia, the bosses is just kind of bad. I can handle the Shadows of Yharnam. Once you put in Rom, the One Reborn, and Mikolash, all three one after another, horrible
Not
designs.
always great, but none of these really stand out as huge issues. And I could take the lame,
Which is why Bloodborne should rather have a remake than a remaster.
easy way out and say that Bloodborne's worst feature is the fact that it's locked at 30 FPS, or that it doesn't have a remake or remaster or a sequel, but these aren't really the kinds of things I'm looking for in this video. They're true, but they're more like meta problems, not actual problems with the game itself. So, and I apologize for this being sort of a lame choice, but I'm going with perishable healing items.
Like I said in the beginning as well, I don't find that a very big problem because I use the rally system a lot better right now. Ooh, wait, hold on. New sponsorship opportunity for sim races. I'll look into that later.
Oh good god, why is this a thing? Demon Souls and Bloodborne are thankfully the only two games that feature this system, and I just can't understand why anybody thought this would be a good idea.
Demon Souls does horribly. Bloodborne does it very nicely.
Yeah. Yes, having non-refillable healing items allows you to stack up. Blood vials can actually go up to a stack of 20, which means that at any given time you can spend some time farming them and then go in a boss fight with much more healing power than what you'd have on other Soulsborne games.
Yes.
But even that's not really so much of a
Very nice
positive.
practicing.
I mean, if you can just quote-unquote out-heal a boss and beat it that way, then that's kinda missing the point. Don't get me wrong, that is a perfectly viable strategy and you're allowed to do it. It just goes against this
But it makes a lot of passivity in the game, which does make the game a lot harder and therefore also worse.
spirit of the Soulsborne games a little bit, if you ask me. But that's not the major problem with perishable healing items. The problem is when you actually run out and have to go back to
That was definitely horrible when I firstly played Bloodborne.
farm more, especially
was
where you're
already
in the
the same
middle of
game.
trying to beat a boss. I tell you, nothing's more frustrating than being in that zone, you know, in that groove, where you've been fighting a boss a couple times, you're starting to learn its patterns, you're getting closer to beating it each time, and then, oh, you're out of vials,
Yeah.
gotta go back and kill some trolls for 3 minutes to stock up. It really pulls you out of that groove, and
The way I solve it is that I only use vials when I get really low HP, or when I know that I have a good opening for it.
it's annoying as fuck. Alright, and for Bloodborne's best quality, it's hands down the lore and theme of the game.
Correct.
For me, Bloodborne has the most interesting lore
Absolutely correct. It has the best lore of any other Souls game. Fight me, boy. I dare you. I don't care. The best lore.
out of all the Souls games. The whole Eldritch Lovecraftian vibe this game has going on is absolutely amazing. The mix of light horror elements in the game are just enough to provide a different flavor that sets it apart from the other Souls games. Bloodborne slowly opens up as you progress through it, and the true nature of its world, as well as what the hell is going on, is slowly being
Inside, however, I wish they did a little bit more with Inside because they only change so many things with it. I wish that they could, change it up a little bit more, make it a little bit more effective where you can see more in the game. Maybe also like see specific beasts with Insight. Like if you have low Insight, that type of beast isn't there or kin. And if you have enough Insight, they will be there. and maybe some will be replaced by others. If you have more insight, that'd be pretty cool.
Revealed to you. At first you have to deal with mostly beasts and corrupted hunters, but then after you progress far enough, you start encountering
After One Reborn?
more outwardly and alien horrors, trying to figure out what happened to trigger the Scourge, learning about the immensely powerful eldritch creatures known as the Great Ones, realizing that the Yharnam you're seeing at the beginning of the game is actually not its true state, as there is a layer of illusion here to prevent you
I wish there was just a couple of Amygdalas in Central Yharnam. That'd be pretty nice to have.
from seeing its true nature. All of these things fall right into my list of what I love in a Lovecraftian game. So let us move on to Dark Souls 3.
Oh, that was it? Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Or just one, I don't know. I think my brother's in the house. Also, I'm gonna save that one for later. Goddamn.
Dark Souls 3 is probably the Souls game I've played the most, so
The one that I have played the least.
thankfully both my choices for the worst and best
Except for Demon's Souls.
quality were fairly easy. For the worst Dark Souls 3 quality, I've chosen its desaturated art design. I'm actually
it definitely could use a little bit more color. I'm not gonna lie. It could use a little bit more color. Just a tiny bit more lighter color. I'll agree. I think the worst thing is the overall exploration. Dark Souls 3 is much more linear compared to Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. And mostly the only time I really find myself exploring is when I need Titanite shots. When I'm looking for Titanite shots. That's the only time I really find myself exploring the area. Because there isn't really much of exploration you really can do in this game.
actually really glad that I have a chance to talk about this because I've been wanting to for a long time now. One thing that is very apparent in Dark Souls 3 is that it looks very quote-unquote grayish. Its colors
That's very grayish.
are not as prominent or vibrant as other Soulsborne games. So much so that it feels kinda odd. Now this is absolutely done
It
by
feels a little bit dark.
design and is tied to the lore of the game. In the world of Dark Souls 3, the fire has been relinked countless times ever since the Age of Gods that took place even before the
Yes,
events
in like the lore or something like that.
of Dark Souls 1. This relinking of the fire is unnatural and goes against the very tendency of the world, which is cyclical. The fire is meant to fade away, giving
Yeah, and if you don't do that, the world rots basically.
way to the Age of Dark, and then presumably after some time the fire would eventually appear again as it did at the beginning to give way to a new Age of Fire. But due to Gwyn's lies and deceit, the world has been tricked into relinking the fire over and over, unnaturally prolonging the current age and basically causing the world to decay and rot, which is what the grey and unsaturated palette is meant to represent. And while there is a very good reason for this,
See, I follow the law. I know my Dark Souls. And Bloodborne. My Soulsborne Kiro Ring.
choice of art design, I still hate it. It makes many areas of Dark Souls 3 feel samey. It doesn't help me immerse myself in the atmosphere of each area, with some exceptions of course, and overall I just don't like looking at it that much. I know, it's not exactly a philosophical or spiritual debate, but yeah, that's actually my major issue with Dark Souls 3. I don't like looking at the world. So, moving on to the best feature, the best aspect of Dark Souls 3 was a no-brainer as well. For anybody who watched my Soulsborne games ranked by boss quality video, which I will link to, but beware, it has some hot takes, this shouldn't come as a surprise at all, it's of course the bosses of Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3, in my opinion, was where FromSoftware really hit big with their bosses.
The bosses are obviously the greatest part of the entire game. Oh, Bloodborne, hello.
Of course, there were amazing bosses in previous games, but in overall boss
Yes. Although the Grapewood, horrendous.
quality, Dark Souls 3 for me is
Hold on, when? Dark Souls anniversary is this month. Hold on. Yes. Here. It's already passed. Oh. You read in Japanese release on March 24th, April 12th. Oh damn. Well, Dark Souls 2, 3, get a remaster. For some bank had not made an official announcement, there are strong industry rumors and leaks suggesting Dark Souls 3 remaster is in development. Nice, nice. I'm gonna be able to stream that. And we're just giving frame rates again. You done? Thank you. That's the wrong one.
Matched. There are very few bosses in the game that I actively don't like. Pretty much just 3. A few that I find okay, and many that I love. With examples like the Nameless King, the Soul of Cinder, the Abyss Watchers, Pontiff Sullivan.
Great bosses. Great
and
bosses.
If we want to get into the DLCs, Sister Friede, Meteor, and Slave Knight Gale,
Yep.
the list goes on. Dark Souls 3 is absolutely stuffed with awesome bosses. It's worth noting that with Bloodborne acting as this sort of intermediary, Dark Souls
Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 was also developed at the same time, so they did have a lot of similarities. And I think some people on different teams were switching between Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, but I can't confirm. Were the Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 teams switching between developments? For Zayda switch teams between the two games, develop Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 consistently using 2 separate teams. Oh, okay. I thought they had some on East. Like seems like something switched. Yes, I know. You don't have to warn me. I know it skipped frame rates. I don't know why it does it. It's doing it again. And I don't really like
3 was where this faster movement of the latter Soulsborne games really solidified, with the games turning slightly more towards a more reactive and faster combat rather than a slower, more positioning-based combat, which the older games feature. Now, positioning is still important in the newer games, just not as much as in the older ones. But this led to faster, more aggressive, and overall more heart-pounding
That would painter enemies in this one? No, I never noticed.
boss fights, which are absolutely Dark Souls 3's best feature. And so, let us proceed. Alright, Sekiro's up next. One of my personal...
What does Sekiro do bad? What do they do bad? What did Sekiro really do that was bad? I mean, the best was obviously like the whole combat thing. That's obvious.
favorites of the Soulsborne games. But technically Sekiro isn't a Soulsborne game. So for me, Sekiro's worst quality is its difficulty curve, particularly in the
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Your early game is very hard, mid game is really easy, late game is really hard.
beginning. Now, let me explain myself. When I say difficulty curve, I don't mean wah wah Sekiro too hard wah. The
Yeah, it's not really too hard, you just need to get good.
game is incredibly hard, debatably the hardest out of all the Soulsborne games, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But in my opinion, Sekiro's difficulty curve is kinda flawed. Sekiro is way too hard in the early game, gets significantly easier at around the mid game, and then gradually gets harder again going into the end game.
That's what she said.
A lot of people say that Sekiro is incredibly hard until the combat quote-unquote clicks, at which point it becomes significantly easier. Typically for most players this would be around the mid-game. Now I do agree with this to an extent. Sekiro certainly introduced a novel combat system compared to the other Soulsborne games. Similar enough to feel like it could be in the same category, but different enough for even veteran players to need some time learning it. But I don't actually think that this is the only reason the early game of Sekiro is so challenging. I think the game is just kinda not that well balanced in the early game.
Yeah, that's true. You do get one-shot a lot, but even the chained ogre can one-shot you.
You have almost zero utility tools from the prosthetic arms, enemies deal way too much damage, mini bosses are just unbelievably brutal, and in general it's just a very hard time.
And Mortal Blade does make the game extremely easy once you actually get it.
Now combine that with the fact that Sekiro introduces its own combat system, which means that not even veteran Souls players can go in prepared, and this leads me to think that FromSoftware should have done a better job balancing out the early game. Maybe give you some more tools to
I think with Sekiro was they really wanted to try something new, something fresh, and I think they did very well at doing that.
strengthen your character earlier.
Sekiro definitely feels the most different out of all the Soulsborne games. Obviously, I mean, look at it.
Make enemies
Nothing of this is Dark Souls.
hit a little less hard, maybe lower the enemy density a bit. But yeah, that's my major gripe with the game. And to be honest, it's not really that big of an issue. It's just that I couldn't really think of much else here. The game is nearly flawless in my eyes. Now, as for the best feature, this would be hands down the movement, and by
I was just about to say the mobility is really great in this game as well. You can escape a lot of things and things like that, but he's gonna stay as well.
extension, the exploration. The jump in Sekiro, which was of course later added to Elden Ring, felt so refreshing. Combine that with the grappling mechanic, and the game gained a whole new level of
I really love the grappling hook. It feels so smooth, so nice to just go through.
exploration and world design in verticality. There are so many neat little places to reach and secrets to find in Sekiro, and it's all thanks to its much more robust
You can grapple hook the
exploration
thing?
and world design in verticality. There are so many neat little places to reach and secrets to
Well, I know what I'm doing after stream.
find in Sekiro, and it's all thanks to its much more robust movement. And aside from jumping and grappling, you can also
Oh, that was Snapseed.
both swim and dive in this game, which opens up even more avenues for world design and exploration. Seriously, if you haven't played Sekiro, please give it a try. It's kinda different from the other Soulsborne games and will
The kill counter right there.
absolutely kick your ass, but it's so fucking good, I swear. And finally,
Elden Ring. Let's see what he has to say. I can't really say much of what's best and what's worst about Elden Ring, because it's pretty similar with like Dark Souls 2, it has a lot of really good mechanics, and it has like mid on like bad mechanics.
we have reached Elden Ring. Now, I'm just gonna come out and say it. If I had to choose one overall best Soulsborne game, it would objectively have to be Elden Ring, just due to its sheer size and magnitude. Is it the best Soulsborne game in all categories? No. Does it have flaws?
Yes.
Absolutely. But flaws are much easier to excuse in a massive open world game with 150 plus hours of gameplay for a proper playthrough. So while I don't think it's flawless, the game is absolutely a masterpiece and definitely the magnum opus of Miyazaki and FromSoftware. For now, at least.
Has a lot of bosses. The repeated bosses is probably the worst part.
Now, choosing the worst feature of Elden Ring is very difficult. I could go for the awful double boss fights, for which I've rambled on a lot in my previous
They are kind of horrible. I feel like they could balance that a little bit better
videos.
next time.
But to be honest, bad double boss fights are a problem in general in FromSoftware games. It's just more prevalent in
The gargoyles and Ornstein and Sumo does it fantastic. They're fantastic at it. Not these gargoyles. The bell gargoyles at Dark Souls 1. They do
Elden
great.
Ring. I could choose the fact that the game is filled with basic bosses that are basically variants of normal enemies, but these bosses typically exist in random dungeons throughout the lands between.
Yes.
They're more like a necessary evil. It would be impossible to fill like 50 plus dungeons with unique bosses after all. So I'm going for a controversial pick, which is the overtuning of bosses, specifically in terms of
Yeah, Morgoth, great example. Way too fast for a mid-game boss.
aggression. Now, I have talked about this a number of times already, and
Hardest boss in gaming history right there.
whenever I bring it up, inevitably I'll get some angry comments on how quote-unquote I need to get good, and quote-unquote it's just a matter of skill. Look, just because something gets criticized doesn't necessarily mean that it's always from a place of frustration or any strong negative feelings.
True.
And to me, many bosses are just flat out over or any
Oops, goddamn. Is Romania even an optional boss? She feels so, like an optional boss. Is Romania an optional boss? She's not a is a mandatory boss. You must defeat her at the Church of the Bud in order to burn the sealing tree and proceed into the final legacy dungeon. Okay, so she's like this, the second final boss in the game, in the DLC of the game. And lagging frames again on my camera.
negative feelings. And to me, many bosses are just flat out overtuned. They are hyper aggressive, they don't leave enough time between their attacks for counter-attacking, they perform combos that take a long amount of time to finish, and generally they force your attack to dodge ratio to be very, very low. If you don't want to,
Margaret is probably one of the best ones the game has.
or can't tank hits. And that's not me saying that these bosses are bad, it's just that I'd like to attack more and dodge less. Not by a lot, but definitely somewhat. In a lot of fights in Elden Ring, it feels like there's a lot of downtime between each time I attack. And I'll be honest, it kinda gets boring sometimes. Now, to anyone who's going to try and dismiss this claim, I implore you to try this first. Do a fresh Elden Ring run without using Spirit Ashes, and
I do that nowadays. Elden Ring is a lot more boring. Like now, because like I'm just a lot better, and the bosses feel very flawed when there's so many of them.
then go do a fresh run on any other Soulsborne game, and you'll see the difference in aggression. The most aggressive bosses in previous installments are considered
Or like the basic of Elden Ring.
average by Elden Ring standards. The only game with a similar level of aggression from the
Sekiro.
bosses is Sekiro, and
But you have more mobility and more attack opportunities in that game.
that's because the combat is designed around it. I understand that FromSoftware wanted to push the limits of their veteran players. I also understand that Spirit Ashes needed to be balanced somehow, but I think they went overboard on some occasions. Just my 2 cents. Now, for the best quality in Elden Ring, look, I'm sorry, I know it's low-hanging fruit, but it's the truth. Size matters. It's the overall scale.
Yes, you get most action for your buck in Elden Ring. Elden Ring is the best Souls game you should get if you're planning to get a lot of playtime compared to your money. This is the best.
Of the game. Look, FromSoftware did the seemingly impossible and successfully merged the incredibly fun and rewarding combat and level design of the Soulsborne games with a massive, expansive, and meaningful to explore open world. This
The bigger Dark Souls 1.
game is basically a massive Dark Souls with a little bit of
Yep.
Sekiro sprinkled in, and I'm saying that in the best way possible, because that's exactly what we wanted. The tried and true Soulsborne formula on a massive scale. That's what we wanted, and that's exactly what we got. The world of Elden Ring isn't just huge, it's packed with secrets. You may run into a random dungeon which can lead into a whole new area. You might open a chest that transports you somewhere else. There's so much stuff to explore and uncover. Truly one of the best open worlds of all time. And that was it, guys. What's your
That was great. He wasn't wrong on many things, I'm not gonna lie. I agreed on a lot of what he says. Obviously I think some things are worse than from what he said and some things are better than from what he said. But overall we kinda got into like the middle ground with each other. I would like to have a little quick break from Souls games, so I'm just gonna do a quick game of chess real quick, hold on. Yeah, just a little quick, just a quick game. Done. Okay, we got it. So we just do that. Put the knight there. Oh damn. Okay. What do you do? What do you push here. Attack the knight. If then we put pressure on the king, if he moves the knight, which is a bad move. Never move your knight right now, I think. We're doing the 3 knights opening. Ooh. Okay. I think I can do that too. That's bad. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Okay, so he's starting to move his bishops a little bit. He's knight there. Interesting. Interesting. Ooh, a little bit up here. Push on the bishop. Really? You're gonna let me take your bishop? That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Oh. You resigned. Okay. Got that down. Okay, now we have okay, I've made a little change to it. I think it was like in Spanish or something. So we got the haven't fought category. I haven't fought this boss. The straight trash ones, horribles, meh, good, amazing, and peak source boss. That's a lot of bosses. Well, let's get started. The Vanguard. You don't really fight this guy. He's obviously a scripted death. But he's like straight trash. He's horrible. He's horrible because he's like scripted death. You don't actually fight him. So yeah, it's not that he's a bad boss. It's that you're meant to die. So obviously, you can't rate him as a peak souls boss because you can barely even fight him. Phalanx. Oops, can you stop that? Phalanx. Straight trash. Phalanx does very okay. Actually horrible. Above Vanguard. Phalanx. It's just a bunch of regular enemies surrounding our core, and that's it. That's all they are. They don't do much in the mechanic department that Demon Souls has. Tower Knight. Give him a meh. He has like the archer guys that you have to get rid of, and then he just like magic projectiles while you're up there. Kind of like the one Reborn, but just done a little bit better. But I wish that they could change his design when you actually fight him. That could be really nice to have. The Armor Spider, also meh, below Tower Knight. The Armor Spider, you just kind of, I don't know, he's kind of like a sentry, and when you get close, he's a lot more weak. Okay, haven't fought you. Flameblocker is a good fight. I haven't beaten him yet, but he's a good fight. He's a pretty nice fight. It's no mechanics, it's a straight fight. He brings a challenge for Demon Souls standards. So overall, he's a good fight. Straight trash. I already know it. Don't need to eat him. Manius haven't fought. Old Hero haven't fought. Penetrator. I know he's a good boss. Haven't fought. I think this guy's like a horrible because like Storm Rule. Haven't fought. Now we got the Asylum Demon. The Asylum Demon is supposed to, oh god damn Quilak. The Asylum Demon is supposed to teach you that if something seems too hard, it is too hard. And you can like go around to other things first. And for that, I think the Asylum Demon does an amazing job as tutorial. And I'll put him as good above the Penetrator. Actually, I haven't fought Penetrator. Go down there. I haven't fought you before. Next up is the Taurus Demon. I like to think of the Taurus Demon as a faster Asylum Demon. But like the thing is, you can't really go many other places than fight him. And he's kind of squishy, but he does have the plunge thing, which does help a lot. I think overall, he goes high on the meh. The Bell Gargoyles. I like this fight a lot. Like I said, the Bell Gargoyles are one of the From Software bosses that works on duo bosses, because when the second guy comes down, one of them will be spraying fire and the other will come close and attack with the halberd, and they do it very great. So overall, I think they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Put a max up here. Good. Moonlight Butterfly. Bottom of meh. It's not a horrible fight. You can definitely fight it, but it's bad. It's really boring of a fight. Very boring boss. Nothing much going on. And it has like 3 attacks at max. Like I max 3 attacks. Very boring, very slow. He's just waiting for it to come down. Capra Demon, straight trash. Don't even need to say anything. The Capra Demon, a small little room with a boss and 2 fast enemies. Some of the most annoying enemies in Soul's history. And they still use them. The dogs. Gaming Dragon, bottom of horrible. The Gaming Dragon, he's really slow. He doesn't really do a whole lot. And you can also kind of like just keep your distance, and he'll keep on doing the same attack over and over and over. And it's a free hit. It's a completely free hit. But he's better than Phalanx. He's better than Phalanx. Quelaag. Quelaag is a very unique, very fast boss compared to everything else in the early game. Shut up. And I think just like for that overall, and she has like the magma, so you have to like watch out where you're going. And her explosion, she has a lot of good attacks, and therefore she goes honestly amazing. I really like the Quelaag fight, love it. Iron Golem, bottom of meh. A little bit more. Like I said before, the Iron Golem is the gatekeeper to Anor Londo, and he's a nothing burger. The Iron Golem is a nothing burger. He has nothing that really works well with him. I mean, what does he have? What does he have that's good? He has a range attack that he uses once in the entire fight. That's it. Once in the smoke, peak boss. Peak Souls boss. The fact that you can choose your second phase between these two guys, depending on who you killed, is amazing, honestly. And the attack syncs so perfectly. A fast with small AoE and a slow with huge AoE. And you can use the pillars to maneuver around. Best Souls boss in Dark Souls 1. The best Souls boss in Dark Souls 1 specifically. Better than Manus. We'll get to him later. He's right there. Priscilla. Priscilla does have the unique invisibility effect. But it's like you can stagger way too quickly out of it. And her attacks, they're fine, but I feel like they could do more. She has 1 attack or something like that. They could definitely do a lot more, and she has a lot of potential. She'll go meh behind the Taurus Demon. She's good, but she can be worked on a lot more, which is what makes her down here. Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is another one where I feel like you could do a little bit more, because he has a bow, homing magics, and then a big magic. And that's it. I think they could do like some sort of 4th attack instead of just like the same 3 ones. And he usually likes to spam his attacks. Overall, I think he goes on another meh actually, beneath the Armored Spire, right there. Above Iron Golem, because he's actually interesting with like the hallway, but he's boring. Seath. This guy is a lord soul, and he has 2 attacks, an arm swing and crystal. Sure, you can count the tail attack, but you only do that for like the sword, so you'll never encounter it otherwise in like an actual battle. Therefore, solely because that he is a lord soul, he goes into straight trash. At the top right now of straight trash. Ooh. Sith. Sith is great. Sith can dodge attacks and move out of the way. He has different sword attacks he has, and he has like limb phase, which makes him an impossible boss because you never attack a limp dog. I think overall, Sif is probably below the bell gargoyles in good. Love Sif, love Sif. Slow, but you love it, and he has secret cutscene with madness. Secret cutscene. The Four Kings. As a Lord Soul, I think he does great. They have the unique mechanic of a DPS check. After a specific time, a new king will spawn, making the fight harder, so you have to be more aggressive to the boss. Kind of like Bloodborne, but slow. And I think for that, mostly amazing. Love Four Kings. He's never too easy, he's never too hard. And he's optional on the very first time you get in. Ceaseless Discharge, really. Do we gotta beat a dead horse here? These four right here. Ceaseless Discharge. Straight trash. Way too slow. Doesn't do anything really in the fight. And you can like insta kill him if you just go back to the door. Centipede Demon. Horrible. On the lowest. You can fight him on a bigger area, but there's barely anything, which is really sucks. And you can barely see what he does when he attacks, because there's so many arms, limbs everywhere. Sucks a wall. Demon Fire Sage. Another horrible above Centipede Demon. It is the Asylum Demon, but with explosion. It has also come to my attention that Stray Demon is here. Stray Demon is horrible above the Demon Fire Sage, solely because he did it before him. So just want to put that in. Better Chaos. I'm not even gonna say anything. It's so bad, bro. Better Chaos is so bad. I hate him. Pinwheel. Horrible boss. Pinwheel is way too easy. Way too easy for when you actually are supposed to fight him. And you can do a summon where he's just nothing. The only time with this guy is a semi-threat is on solo long runs. And even then he can be easy if you do your build correctly. Gravelord Nido. I like this fight. As a Lord Soul, Gravelord Nido does his job nicely. He kills his own enemies, which is fine. I like it. He can kill his own enemies, that's pretty good. And he has a low amount of attacks, but it works because of the enemies as well. I think overall he's he's pretty good. I'm gonna put him. I'll put him right here. Right there. Next we got Gwyn. Overall, Gwyn is very disappointing. Yeah. I mean, I wish he had like the Sonic Spear that he could use. You know, since look at it, it's literally right there, and he gets parried, so you can just parry away to win. Therefore, he goes at meh, the top of meh, because you can still fight him normally if you want to. Sanctuary Guardian. This guy I never really found interesting, in my opinion. I need to pee again. Hold on, I'll be right back. what's up? I'm back. Okay, what do we have? Sanctuary Guardian, yes. Sanctuary Guardian he's good. He's like low good. I like him, but he feels very weird, you know? I don't know. Artorias amazing. Top of amazing right there. I love Artorias. He's fast, he's aggressive, he has a buff face, he has doll, And he has great lore. Manus, another amazing. Fast, aggressive. He has lore, he's the big boss, he's everything. Manus is everything. And we have done like 2%. Who the hell? What? Why is Slice a P in here? What's this game? Who the hell? Who the hell? What's Christos Bombastia? Let's check the other stuff. What? Why is Liza P in this game in here? Oh well. Calamite. I don't like Calamite. He feels weird, clunky, slow, like all other dragons. He has weird hitboxes too. Honestly, he's a meh. He's gonna go. He's gonna go. He's gonna go right there, meh. Right there. That's better. Alright. Moving on. We got Dark Souls 2. A lot of bosses already. All the way down here. Now I haven't fought many DLCs in here. But we're gonna get them, The Last Giant. Last Giant. I think Last Giant does great for first boss. He's very easy and he can deal a lot of damage to you. He's pretty good. And he was also the first boss I ever fought. I actually had to use a summon against him, not gonna lie. He's at the bottom of good, Last Giant. The Pursuer, amazing. Put him right there. Pursuer, he's just overall amazing. You can cheese him with a harpoon, a ballista, or you can actually fight him, which is kind of difficult. I spent 19 hours fighting this guy my first ever playthrough, because he was so difficult, and I didn't know there was a harpoon in the game, in the boss room. Dragon Slayer. Put him up here. Put him right there. The Dragon Slayer, he can be fought, but he's just so easy, so basic. He has like 2 attacks. He has 2 attacks. He's horrible, but he's not too horrible. Old Dragon Slayer, he's meh. He's just a copy of Ornstein. He's nothing. He's nothing on his own, really. It's like Star Sentry. This was a bit interesting, because it has 2 different sides where you can actually fight him. A front dexterity, and then what's my teacher doing? A front dexterity, and then a back strength, which does a lot of variety for what you can actually do in the fight, and I like it. I really, really like it. And therefore, I think he's going good. Just above that, right there. That's pretty good. The Ruined Sentinels. Is he meh? Are they meh or are they good? Because like, if they came in like 1 at a time, it'd definitely be good. But because you have to fight 2 at a time, after you kill the first one, I think it goes down to meh. Because it's just a little bit different, because it's just the same one you fight. I think it's above Tower Knight, lower than Priscilla. Right there, on meh. That's where you go. Belfry Gargoyles, horrible. They are an extremely bad version of Bell Gargoyles. And there's more of them, so if you're too slow, they're just bad. Just overall bad. Put them on top. They can almost qualify as meh, but they copy another one. Lost Sinner is great, honestly. The Lost Sinner feels like you're fighting a slightly faster version of yourself. Kind of like fighting Sekiro, if you win Dark Souls 2. It's fast, it has some good aggression, it can dodge attacks. It's got all a lot for an elder. Hold on. The old ones, that's what it's called. The old ones, it does great for what an old one is supposed to do. So honestly, for that, it's gonna go good. Just below Sith. Very great. I like it. Good boss overall. Now we got Skeleton Lords. I mean, it does have a pretty unique mechanic of figuring out which skeleton you want to fight first. Because it depends on what skeleton it spawns. I like to go with the staff guy if they spawn the real skeletons. The wheel, not the real, but the wheel. But they're very boring. You just kind of kill the skeletons. They get two-shotted. You just get like five-shotted. Pretty easy. Kind of like another meh. A very boring one. Could put him below Tower Knight, but above Armor Spider. Executioner's Chariot is very unique because, like, you know, he runs in a circle and you went the opposite way. I like the design they chose for it. The boss fight is okay, but like the all around thing, I like it. Therefore, it goes in good. And I think right below Lost Sinner, right there. They didn't even try with this guy. They did not even try. He's slow, boring, does nothing. Does nothing overall. Mytha. Okay, Mytha. I mean, Mytha just feels like a worse Quelaag version. Like, Quelaag perfected it, but Mytha, she just... I don't know. I mean, the poison thing is cool. You can remove the poison, you can keep the poison. And I think for that reason, Mytha goes in meh above Calamite, right there. Also, what are you two doing? Act like that, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Smelter Demon, great boss. I think I have to put him at amazing. He has 3 phases, unique mechanics, fast, tanky, perfect for Iron Keep. The boss run back sucks, but that's not the point. The point is the boss itself. Therefore, I think we're putting Smelt Demon right up here above the Pursuer. Right up there. Old Iron King. He's the old Iron King. He's slow. He does like 2 attacks that are dangerous, and yet still they can be dodged kinda easily. I think therefore he goes down here. Below the... Where do you go? Below the old Dragon Slayer, but above the Moonlight Butterfly. Nachka. Again, just a clone of Quelaag, but she does have magic projectiles. Should be stated, she does have magic projectiles, which are pretty cool. She does have a dire attack, which is cool, but it feels like they don't use it in the way they should. And if I think she goes down here, where is she? Mytha's there. I think Nachka goes right there. That goes pretty fine with me. Royal Rat Authority. Is that the big guy? That's the big guy, okay. Alright, that's the small ones. Big guy. I mean, I only really fought this guy in New Game Plus. I'm not gonna lie. And I think therefore, it should be stated, haven't fought on regular New Game. So, yeah. Can't count that one. These guys are just straight trash. Above competition. They can kill you, but you gotta let them kill you then. And other than that, it's they're just slow, easy to kill. They're bad. They're really, really bad. Duty Freya. Interesting boss. Very interesting boss. Very easy boss. But you gotta think of this. This is an old one. And then, the old ones are like the big checkpoint bosses. They're supposed to be kind of difficult, you know? And therefore, I honestly think that Duty Freya, it wasn't meh. It wasn't horrible for what it's supposed to be. But it goes at the top of horrible. Because they're horrible, but they kind of work, you know? Royal Red Vanguard. Horrible as well. Below Stray Demon, but above these guys. The Royal Rat Vanguard, it's just a bunch of rats, and they can juggle you around, or you juggle them around, and it's pretty easy. It's just easy. It's boring. There's nothing going on in it. It's just bad. Just bad. Just making sure. The Rotten. The Rotten is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. He has the oil thing and the fire in the arena. He's pretty okay fast, and I think he does his job for being an old one. I really think, and he's a really good Souls grind boss. I think that fight goes good. Below the Lost Sinner, but above Executioner's Chariot. These guys, they're kind of like clumping up together over here. We've got Last Giant over here. I'm actually gonna put Last Giant at the top of meh. I don't think about it. Twin Dragon Riders. Where is he? Where is he? Where did I put him? Below the Dragon Rider. It's the same, but there's just two. Can't even use that for anything. They're looking the last night. Using PvP as a boss mechanic? PvP is a boss mechanic. Peak Souls boss. The Peak Souls boss will only go for one boss of each Souls game here, okay? This will be for their specific best, if they even deserve to be, if they even are a really good boss. And you can see how no Demon Souls is up here, therefore they can't be up here. The Demon of Song. The Demon of Song deals a lot of damage. It deals a lot of damage, but it's so slow it almost never hits. That's the thing. And it jumps around. It's a frog. It's slow. It's the Demon of Song. I think overall it should go in meh. It's okay, but it's really slow and boring. I think it goes right there. Right there. Below Priscilla, but above the Rune Sentinels. Velstad. Velstad. I don't know. Velstad, he's kind of disappointing. He can kill you pretty easily, but he's also slow compared to who he is. What he is, a late game boss, technically can be the third final boss of the game, and he's just slow, very boring. I think therefore, gotta put him at meh. But below the Last Giant and above Calamite. He's a nothing burger. He's a nothing burger. Next was Vendrick. Vendrick is horrible. His boss is super slow. Either it takes way too long or way too little time to kill him. That's all you can say for Vendrick. You can't say anything else. So he goes in horrible. I think right here actually, between Felix and Vanguard. Next was the Guardian Dragon. The Guardian Dragon, he's something. Is he a good boss? Not really. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. We're nearly halfway done. please let this be over. Love this boss. I think honestly it goes up in meh. It's an enjoyable fight, but unless it does, it kind of like it likes to run away, fly away out of your reach, or else he just does nothing other than just make a couple stomps. I think therefore he goes in meh, right around here. I think yeah, right there. I think that's a good spot for him. Ancient Dragon. Ancient Dragon is, again, it's mostly just stomping and flying up spraying fire. Those are the only two. I think therefore, this guy, he's like Ancient Dragon. He's like a big knowledge guy. Really tough, supposed to be. Therefore he ends up in horrible. Right there. He's horrible because I expect more from the training outside. He's horrible because I expect more from, I expect a lot more from a guy like that. The Giant Lord, again, kind of the same. The second to final boss of the game? Really? This guy? He's a reskin of the last giant. He's straight trash. He's straight trash. Above Capra Demon though. You guys go below Capra Demon. Dark Lurker. Haven't fought. Same with you guys. And let's go all you guys. All the DLC guys from this one. I haven't fought yet. I'm working on it, don't worry. Stream coming soon. Hopefully I didn't take a Bloodborne boss there. I don't think I did. It's nice. Okay, the Throne Watcher and Defender. These guys, like, they try to be Ornstein Smough. Both of them, they kind of act the same in it. You know? And they can both revive each other, which is a new mechanic added to Souls. Later used for Lothric, the Twin Princes. And I think therefore they're honestly a pretty good fight. They're pretty good. I'm gonna put them. I'll put them right there. No. Yeah, actually no, right there. Right, that's fine. That's fine. Nashandra, the final boss of the game, the big green bad manipulator. And this is what you get. This is what you get? This horrible boss. Because rather, it's the final boss and it's this. She doesn't even do anything. I mean, she does, but it's so easy to just kind of not get. I literally stood still under her and she didn't hit me for like a good amount of time. What? Oh dear. The true final, the secret final boss, the moon presence of Dark Souls 2, and it's this. It's this. He doesn't even give you souls for winning. Straight trash, right above Better Chaos. He deserves so much better, so much better. He is the oldest old one. He's not an old one, but you know what I mean. Now. Now's the good game. Now's Bloodborne. Bloodborne has some good bosses. And Dark Souls 3 right after. Ooh, it's gonna be good. I'm noticing there is no Sekiro. In the Soulsborne, there's no Sekiro. That sucks. Okay, starting out Cleric Beast. If you talk to Gilbert, Cleric Beast will most likely be your first boss in Bloodborne. It's supposed to teach you aggression, staggerment, riposte, all of that stuff, all that new stuff that Bloodborne adds. And I honestly think Cleric Beast, he does it perfectly. It does it perfectly. It's a great boss. Top of good boss. Gascoigne. Gascoigne. Oh, amazing. Put him above Madness. Put him at the top of amazing right now. Gascoigne, he's fast, aggressive, he knows what he's doing. 3 faces, each one pretty different from the other. Especially the third one. I love the third one. And the music. The Gascoigne music. Love it. It's great. Great overall. Bloodstar Beast. I originally really hated this guy, but after fighting him again, I think he goes into meh. Top of meh. I mean, he doesn't do much other than just kind of like rush attack and poison you, which can be really annoying. The poison is kind of annoying, but the game prepares it for you with a lot of antidotes to use against him. So yeah, he's boring, but he works. He's boring, but he works. Which is Henrik overall horrible. There you go. Right there. The Witches of Henrik are slow. They nearly do nothing. Hold on. Sorry. The Witches of Henrik nearly does anything because they like using their shadow guys, which aren't the boss. And that's kind of why they suck. They just kind of stand still and let you take the attacks. That guy Amelia. Amazing again. Right below Artorias. Like Amelia, she jumps, she's aggressive, and she can heal, teaching you that you need to be aggressive to the boss too, or else the boss heals. And again, limb breaking, just like the Cleric Beast. Love it. Love her design. She's unique. She's great. Love her. Amazing. Not peak source boss. Not yet, at least. Shadows of Yharnam, again, it's a meh. Like, there's 3 of them. Each of them are unique. And they both align great with each other. But something about them just feels off. They feel meh. They feel very meh. Like it feels like they don't fit in the environment that you're in. Because it's filled with like beasts and snakes. And you get Shadows of Yharnam, which appears at Mirko's loft. Why? I don't really know the lore, so they go meh. Rom is a horrible boss. Top of horrible. Rom completely removes the act of aggression in the game. Rom runs away, Rom hides behind enemies, and Rom makes you run from her attacks. Rom just completely does the opposite of what Bloodborne wants you to do. Unless I fight Rom the wrong way. Don't really know. Dog Beast Paul. He's meh. He goes right there. In Dog Beast Paul, you fight him way too early or way too late in the game, in which he just kind of becomes unbalanced. It's hard to figure out the correct time to fight Paul. That's it. The One Reborn. He's in the meh. He goes right there. The One Reborn. He's the One Reborn. Chaotic, weird, slow as well. And I don't know, he's a very bad boss. He just kind of, his limb attacks that he has on the bottom of him makes it very hard to attack him on front, and you have to go for the arms, which sucks. And then he has projectile spamming and all of that stuff. Slow, boring, bad overall. There's still just so much more left, huh? Just put these guys up here, because I have not fought these guys. Not a single one of them. Ooh, look, it's Bale. Mesmer, Romia, Prom's Consort. Nice. The Amygdala is the same as Dark Beast Paul. You fight them way too late into the game, or way too early with Paul. I lost Paul. Where is he? Hold on. Paul. I can't find him. There he is. Amygdala's still above because the Amygdala's unique, it's great, and it's awesome. Has lore, has uniqueness. A lesser great one as well. There's not a lot of street trashes. Ooh, that's bad. Oh no. I cracked it. That's bad. Okay. Mathia Logarius. He's a good boss. He has fast attack moves. He's aggressive. He has unique range attacks, skulls. He has everything. And the sword storm is great. Put it right there. Logarius, great boss. boss overall. Need to say anything? It's Mikolash. It's Mikolash. Horrible. It's a running simulator. You have to run after him. And his fight itself is boring. His fight is ridiculously easy and ridiculously boring. As well as these guys, they go right above him actually. Because they are slow, there's many of them and it's easy. Ebritas. Ebritas, yes. Is her name? Ebritas goes in the bottom of good. Ebritas, what is she? What even is she? She's slow, and yet the aggression works on her for some reason, and I don't really know how. But she's overall fun to fight, even if she's slow. So she gets bottom good. She gets bottom good. Mirko's Red Nose, amazing boss, right there. Mirko's Red Nose is amazing. It's slow, but it still works. German, German. Ooh. Top of amazing. German's fast, relentless, he's aggressive, and he has a high health pool. He has everything that Bloodborne has to offer. And with that, Moon Presence is actually right above. Love Moon Presence. And I don't even need to say why. Ludwig. Peak Souls boss. Ludwig is awesome, relentless, cool second phase, okay first phase. He's great, he's awesome, and I love him. The Living Failures. It's literally in the name, Living Failures. They have nothing to bring. Except for like the Meteor Rain, I guess. But Asla has that too. Not fair to put Elden Ring up against Bloodborne. Yeah, Living Failures get straight trash. Ooh, Lady Maria. Honestly, right above German, but just below Moon Presence. She's fast, aggressive. She's what German wants to be. That's it. She's what German wants to be. For this one exception. Nah, top of amazing. Orphan of Kos, great boss. I love him. He's the most aggressive boss out of all of them, I think. He's also... I think he's one of the hottest bosses in the entire genre. Let's see here. Let's take this one. Let's see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. ROM? What? Okay, they clearly don't know what you're talking about. Fume Knight? Nameless Puppet? That one's pretty hard. Okay, so Orphan of Kos isn't even that. But yeah, Orphan of Kos is really difficult. Love him. Top of amazing. Lawrence? I don't know. Lawrence gets good. He's kind of like a copy of the Cleric Beast with a second phase. So he just gets right below Cleric. Dark Souls 3 Lendix Gundia. I'm a stream on this one. He's good right there. Love his attacks, fast and aggressive. Board. Amazing at the bottom. Redwood, straight trash. Crystal Sage. Horrible. Right there. The Beat, straight trash, right there. Abyss Watchers, amazing. Put him right there. Volnir, meh. Right below the Blood Reborn. Old Demon King. Haven't fought on fair grounds. Pontiff Silva, where did he go? Uh-oh, I lost him. Hold on. Where is he? There he is. He gets amazing again. Right there. Aldrich, Devour of Gods, gets a... I don't really like him that much. Her, he, I don't know. Yorm. Also a meh. Right above Aldrich. Dance, ooh, amazing. Dance is amazing. I love it. Right above Pontiff. And now we're gonna slow down again. There's so many. Osiris. Gets a meh. Right around there. Right there. Osiris, he's okay. He has lore. But he's kind of boring. He's a bit boring. Champion Gundyr. Where is he? Where's Lundix? Where's Lundix? He gets bottom of meh. He's a copy. He's a straight up copy, basically. Dragon Slayer armor. He's pretty good. I'm gonna put him between Clegbees and Lawrence here. Very good boss. Oh, I love the teleport attacks and the team up they have. It's pretty much just a combined Ornstein and Smo, just combined into one. Love it. I think therefore they get right in there. So all of these guys were top amazings. Ancient Wyvern. Horrible boss. Right there. Sure, it's interesting going through the layout, but you still one-shot him at a drop. Oof, Nameless King. Peak Souls boss. Solar Cinder is an amazing boss. This one's difficult. I think right there. Below Lothric but above Gascoigne. I don't know. They work. They basically work. Switching between faces that much is really nice. Pretty cool. Okay, now we go in here. Haven't done the DLCs yet. I'm still planning on it, don't worry. Godric. Godric gets a meh. Right there. Godric, he doesn't bring that much. Honestly, he's like the first boss. He's very cocky, he's lazy, he's obviously a really bad boss. Renala gets to go home. Renala gets above Godric. She works, but she's just so slow and just, I don't know, she's squishy. Very easy to just kill instantly. And I don't like that at all. So she gets right above Godric. General Radahn. Right there. Below Lodric, but above Onsito. But above Bolsinsmo. Love the General Radahn. He is amazing. Peak Souls design. Morgoth. Now this one's interesting because he's an amazing boss. But the speed, again, downgrades him down here, because he's just so hard to stack and all that, and so hard to hit, because I feel like he's dodging you more than you dodging him. Yeah. I think he gets right above Civ, but get him right there. There gets Morgoth. He's good, but he just barely scratches the amazing. Ancestor Spirit. He's a meh. It's just, I don't know, slow. It has some unique mechanics, but slow. A lot of wind-ups. Kind of a nothing burger again, you know. Fortisax, ooh. Fortisax. Top of good. Fortisax is an amazing boss. He's tied to Godwyn. Amazing boss overall. Didn't fight him on the first playthrough though. Well, I'm in. After my boy. Hey, make it up there. I love Astle. What the fuck is my brother doing? But Astle, he has amazing boss room. First of all, he visually pleasing, gravity. He has a lot of good stuff. A very slow Radon. Right card. Ooh, is he good? Is he meh? He gets the top of meh. Because Rykard, he's definitely a difficult boss. Yes, I'll admit, he's kind of difficult. But he makes it so easy with the Servant Hunter. Makes it so easy to kill. So squishy. Fire Giant. He gets all sorts up, man. That's a lot of Eldring up here. Fire Giant is slow, boring, rolls around, trying to get away from you, drags away your time. I don't like him. I don't. Moke. I love Moke. Straight up amazing. Where'd he go? Moke gets right there. Love yourself some Moke. Lord of Blood. Placid Dewsax. Haven't fought on the regular terms, so we don't count. Malekith. Ooh. This might also be one right there. Malekith. Love him. Really love Malekith. He's super, I said at the beginning as well, super fast, but super squishy. At the same time, love his fight. Hopefully. Get a little bit back to the music. Godfrey Hole. Amazing again. We're getting drop frame rates. There you go. Amazing. Right there. Love Godfrey Hole. Fast, aggressive, Valenia. Melania. She gets amazing. Right there. Melania's obviously very, very good. But she just has like that difficulty thing in her. It makes me not really want to like her. I want to like her, but she's way too difficult. I did use summons for her, so I can't judge her. I did use summons. Not under regular terms, Fog. Radagon Outlaws. Radagon and Outlaws though? They're good. They're right with the sex good. They don't really bully each other. And these guys don't matter. These guys don't matter. They're not part of this conversation. So here we have our best. Nameless King, Malekith, Ludwig, Jordan, Ocean Swim, and the Looking Glass Knight. You know, let's do a little quick chess match real quick. Just a quick little chess match before we end off our stream. Play 10 minutes. Let's go. Let's do this. It's just my camera that doesn't work. The Legend Division, really? What's it gonna do, bro? Yeah, that's what I thought. What's next? What's his next move? Bishop. Okay. He can't move queen because of his knight. He can't move his queen. Get offensive there. Threaten with bishop. He has to take. He has to take. Yeah, that's what I thought. Had to take it. Had to take it. But that bishop now. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, you did not. No, you did not. Well, I ain't losing my queen. The knight can no longer run anywhere. Okay, this is a bit tough. He took my rook. He took my rook. I can take his knight though. I can take his knight. It's free. Got it. Nice. Can maybe if I go up and attack his queen maybe? He's getting a bit offensive now. Okay, okay. I see you. I see you. What's he doing? What's he trying to do? I can go up. Oh, I can't fork. I can't fork. I can't fork because his queen. Which is why I must move his queen. Move his queen. Take it and you're an idiot. Take it and you're an idiot. He did not move his queen. He did not. He did not. And I can't even fork now because he moved his bishop. But why? Why would he do that? That's why. Put a bit pressure on his queen. Will he take the trade? I don't know. I don't think he will though. I don't think he wants to. Taking that as a bad move though. Ooh, okay, okay. I see you, I see you. Take, take. You have to. Yeah, that's what I thought. Protect out the king. Taking my knight would be a bad idea, really bad idea. Ooh, that bishop. Hold on. Right here. Take. Yep, got it. I'm fine with it. I can do it. Ooh, he didn't see that one coming. Ooh, it hurts, doesn't it? Get good, little bro. I get a bit offensive with a fork. Ooh, okay. You give me check now? You can check now? Doesn't really work, but nice try. But why? Why would you do that? That's a bad idea. Ooh, okay, check. Ooh, checkmate. Now go up, go down there. Talk at that. Talk at that. Okay, okay, okay. Make sure his rook cannot checkmate. Oh, he's gonna move over there and then it's checkmate. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's his plan? Yeah, I thought as much. Man, what about Versailles, man? Shut the fuck up. Alright, well, today's stream is a little bit short. Have a lot of buffering going on here, I don't like that.